Welcome to the Sports Show. Happy Labor Day weekend. Mike Max, Patrick Royce, Lou Nanny, and Sid Hartman. So let us reflect a little bit here. It's been a very busy week. Of course, the Vikings start a week from today against Jacksonville. Twins and Joe Mauer on the waiver wire. NHL player talks, and of course, the Golden Gophers Thursday night.
Well, I figured all the time if Marcus Gray's got to carry him, if he doesn't do the job, they'll have another bad season. And he, in my opinion, he was about as bad last night as he could be. He had wide open receivers down the field, never touched him. They did a great job stopping him from running. He was.
You have some statistics there in front of us. Will you share those with us?
15 for 28 he was, and he did nothing until that overtime. He made one big run. If he can't do the job, then it'll be another season like last year.
Sid, you've been building a reputation for 50 years as an evaluator of talent, and last week you told me Marquise Gray was going to be the best quarterback in the Big Ten. What happened?
I do recall that.
I said second to Robinson.
Oh, second.
I don't think he'd mentioned that, but that's okay. I know. Whoever sold you that bill of goods, you ought to sue him. Although I think he'll be better. Hot night, sweaty, and he just was. You know, the game was closer than anybody thought it was going to be, and last year he started off like this and got a little better. So,
well, the one thing about him is, as you were saying earlier, he looked a little slower, being so heavy, but passing even last year wasn't his strength.
No.
That is definitely his weak point, and that's something that you think that he could improve on. He certainly has got opportunities to hit people, and he's got to be doing that.
Okay, one of our best players, Stoudemire, gets 2 interference calls right in a row. He fumbles a punt on the 15-yard line. You can't have that happen.
Yeah, but Stoudemire, you know, is going to play better.
Yeah.
Is Marquise Gray going to pass better? That's the biggest question.
So, Louis, does a game like that, obviously it was buried in the middle of the night on a station that a lot of people don't get, but does it hurt or help the University of Minnesota football program?
Well, I don't know how you could say it helps a lot. The only way it helps is they got a victory. They didn't have a lot of exposure because the game's so late. Sid stayed up. I can't believe it. I even went to bed before the game was over. I couldn't stay up anymore, and he stayed up and watched the whole thing. But I was able to find it at 7:35 on CBS. I didn't even know that channel existed.
I think a lot of people said that.
I was happy that I was able to see it.
Patrick, what do you think?
Oh, I don't think it hurts him a lot because people want to feel good about Jerry Kill. If this had been,
for sure.
If Tim Brewster was still coaching, people would have been complaining a lot more than they're complaining today. People want to have good feelings about Jerry Kill, and so they're not going to be saying, "Oh, what a terrible victory." The
one concern he had was how young they are, and they showed it last night. But the veterans, Stoudemire, Gray, people like that, didn't produce.
They ran pretty well on defense. They did. They moved pretty well.
Faster on defense.
Yeah, they definitely are.
I thought physically they were 3 touchdowns better than Las Vegas. That's what was disappointing. That Las Vegas quarterback couldn't play for St. John's. He was awful. And, he was getting some heat, but when he had a couple of open guys in the end zone, he missed them by 12 feet, 12 yards. And, he's probably, I don't know anything about New Hampshire, but as far as their Division I opponents, I don't think they'll face a worse quarterback this year.
No, I can't imagine. I mean, that was the perfect guy to play against, a freshman who hadn't played before, Louis.
Well, the good part is, as Pat said, though, the defense looks faster. I thought the defense, is playing better, and I think they're going to get better as the year goes along. And, you would think the offense is going to be better.
They played against a team that got beat 55-6 last game of the season.
Sid, you can just see they got better athletes on defense. It's nice to see a Minnesota team that doesn't have all its athletes on offense, that there's a few on defense.
Yeah, so if they go 4-0, Louis, do we get some momentum here for the Big Ten, or what do you think this program has to do to spike?
Well, I think they're going to get better. It's early, and you got a young team. I think they're going to get better. If they start off 4-0, maybe they'll get some confidence, and Sid figures that they could win 6. I think they can win 6 too if they win the first 4. I'm more concerned if they're going to be able to beat Western Michigan. Western Michigan always plays some good teams early in the year, either Michigan State.
And I can't imagine that Syracuse.
They're not going to be that easy.
I can't imagine Syracuse isn't better than Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yeah, and so those are 2 games that, they're going to have to battle to win if they play the way they played last night.
what happened. They showed instant replay, and the announcers were harping on it. A Vegas guy dropped a punt
Okay,
right in his hands. He touched it. There was no doubt he touched it. The ball rolled in the end zone. Minnesota recovered. Should have been a touchdown. How they blew that one.
they didn't recover it, first of all.
They didn't
battled it
recover.
out of the
Went
end zone.
through the back of the end
And
zone.
second, the Gophers had one that way too, where Levante Edwards, it looked like, touched the ball, and Las Vegas recovered it, and they didn't give it to Las Vegas. So that was, I don't think it was a great officiated game.
I don't think Minnesota fell on the ball in the end zone, did they?
No, they never got on the ball. They never got control of the ball.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
But
matter
they could
'cause-
have. I think they could have called it a safety, though, right?
I
Because
thought
That's
they
what I was trying to
had
figure out.
control of the ball.
no, I think they could have called it a safety.
Well, if you think those officials were bad, how about the NFL officials?
We might see him again this Sunday, the same
God.
crew.
Yeah.
But you're 2-0, and then Western Michigan. They do have a senior quarterback who's well regarded, so
No, they're
That'll-
all freshmen.
that'll be a tough game for them. Because Western Michigan is used to, as you say, used to playing
Yeah.
decent opponents, and they'll throw it all over the place. So we'll see if Minnesota. I would say pass defense has only been a problem around here since when, maybe '77, when
Okay.
they had a pretty good team.
I want one more question that we tackled last week, and Louis wasn't here, but you're involved in the University of Minnesota as an alumni and raising money for athletics, and we raised this question, and we've never had a definitive answer. Instead of New Hampshire, why not sell the stadium out and play North Dakota State, North Dakota, South Dakota, or South Dakota State? And it costs you less money to bring
I've
them
been
in.
arguing about that for a long time. I tell every athletic director the same thing. I says I don't want to watch the Sisters of the Poor. I'd rather watch the Gophers play a good team, even if they get beat. I'd be more entertained.
Yeah,
and
but if-
especially when it
Dakota
comes
team-
to the Dakota teams, that are going to bring you money. They're going to fill the stadium.
Right.
I don't understand that. I mean,
New Hampshire
yeah.
is no better than the North Dakota team. I asked Mark Ryan that. He makes the schedule. Yeah, I said, how stupid can you be?
Yeah, it's actually,
I said that. Why would you play New
But-
Hampshire
but
when
what-
the North Dakota team?
But was
South Dakota
Brewster
team-
a little gun shy after losing to one of them?
Remember
That
his
might have
big-
been.
well,
Brewster didn't want to
Well,
give North Dakota State the publicity.
For the record, they were 2-3 against those Dakota teams. North
Yes.
Dakota State beat them twice, and South Dakota beat them once, and North Dakota State could have beat them the other time.
South
Could have gone
Dakota
3-0.
State could have beaten them too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for the record, they didn't do well. Brewster's theory was we don't recruit those areas, so therefore, well, I doubt he's recruiting New Hampshire very hard.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, but I
Who
think
they getting from
Brewster's
there?
deal was North Dakota State was picking off some guys that he wanted to walk on or
Well,
something.
what he always said, though, was we don't recruit the same area that they do, so it doesn't do us any good to call attention to ourselves in those markets. You know what I'm
No.
saying?
That's the underlying fact is they're
Brewster
concerned
might
about
have-
losing the game.
Brewster
to
might
those
have had
areas.
something to do with
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
he did.
I think he did.
He did. And he got a job at Ole Miss. Have you talked to him?
Yeah, big time job.
He says it's easier to recruit to Starkville than Minneapolis. He said that in his press conference.
To
Did you
be
hear
up
that?
there.
No.
Much easier to get athletes to come to Starkville.
Take a break, come back, stay with us.
23.
J.D. Hoyt's locally owned, nationally known, and man, do they make a pork chop and a steak and a salad and a chicken. You love it, Louis,
Pork chops are undoubtedly the best in the state.
without question.
Labor
They're
Day
just the
weekend.
best,
I
yeah.
think you're tempting me here. I might have to make a trip.
But there is no game to go to at Target Field after.
no.
I had a long talk with Joe Mauer the other day after this whole waiver wire thing, and it was interesting sitting with him. And I said, "What do you make of this?" And he said, "To be quite honest, I don't understand waiver wire." So,
No, well, neither does the public.
neither
but
does the public. Yep.
Suhan had a good column on Friday in the Star Tribune, though. You know, if you're going to do this in the modern era of leaks, you know, every team gets the waiver wire. You got to expect to have this kind of outcry from people. You can't expect to keep it private.
You know what surprised me though, Patrick, is somebody inside the Twins told me he's been on the waiver wire
Oh, yeah.
4 or 5 times, but this is the first time it's ever
Yeah,
leaked.
But you got the Fox Sports baseball guys who and the ESPN baseball guys and everybody else, CBS baseball guys, and they all buddies with agents and they're all buddies with teams, and then they find out.
I gotta tell you, they use the waiver wire a lot different than hockey would use the waiver wire then, because if you're saying I'm putting them on the waiver wire to find out interest, wouldn't you rather just pick up the phone? There's only 32 teams. They call the other 31 teams and see
Yeah.
who's got interest, rather than having people aware that you're on the waiver wire. When we put guys on a waiver wire in hockey, if we put them on revocable waivers, we put them on there because we were seeing if we could get them through the waiver, and then we'd be able to send them
Well,
down.
that's-
So if nobody claimed them. But if we put him irrevocable, obviously he's going to go if somebody picks him. We didn't put him on revocable waivers to see who had interest because I don't want people to know that I might be trading this guy because it would get out the way Patrick said. There's always, I don't care where you are, there's always going to be leaks. People
Well, I
will
don't
find
agree
out.
with you guys. I agree that they were sitting around talking. That's what I heard. And they talked about possibility of trading this guy. I think there was real possibility of talking about it. Also, somebody said, let's see if anybody will claim him. If anybody's interested in this $23 million contract.
Yeah, well, that's
Sure,
what we're
you find
saying.
out some things,
We're
yeah.
saying that, but I'm saying, wouldn't you rather a guy of that stature and that name, if you're serious about it, wouldn't you rather do it confidentially and just call the teams? First of all, if you're in a position, you're going to know who's got the flexibility, who might be interested for the most part, who's willing to spend the money.
Well, after August 1st, they have to get new waivers on everybody
Yeah.
if they can trade him. But I don't. Money is such an important factor in baseball now that when you see Boston get rid of those three guys, I don't put anything out of question. I agree with Sid. I think if somebody would have given him the right package and claimed him, and Joe wanted to go to that place, you got to remember he has a no trade.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they would have moved him.
That's what they were doing, though. That's why you do that, because if, say, the Red Sox would have put a claim in, that's telling them they have interest, and they'd have talked to the Red Sox.
And obviously,
and the Red
because-
Sox would have said, we'll give you this, and this,
Let's
so
add a
then you
little
let it go.
sizzle to this, though.
Yeah.
It's the fact that the Red Sox, everybody thought was number 2 on his list to the Twins.
Yeah.
That they just cleared all this money on their salary cap space, so people started to do what is 2 and 2 equal 4 with the
Yeah.
Red Sox. That's what this
Yeah.
became all
Here's
about.
the thing. Their one chance to put this club back in winning is making that kind of a deal. And I think they wanted to find out, maybe somebody will call us up and say, I'll give you 2 pitchers.
Yeah, but there's only one team when you do that.
Only one team
if
can
one
claim it.
team claims them, Otherwise, yeah, you're right. Then you can move them if.
No,
you
but
know.
what Sid's saying
Then-
is right.
then he can move 'em to
No, but
anybody.
you could have, what Sid says is right. There could have been 3 teams putting
Sure,
a claim in
interest.
for him.
Yeah.
So you talked to all 3 teams to see what they're gonna
I tell you
give
what, the first team one of these teams is gonna. First thing one of these teams would have said, you got to pay 60 of the 160
yeah.
of the 160 that he's due. That's the
that's
first thing they would have said.
That's what the Red Sox got a whole bunch of money.
Do you have any idea?
They get 11. I mean,
They got rid of $263 million.
Do you have any idea what his trade market value would be? What do you think you could get for Joe Mauer?
if some club wanted to spend the money, and like Pat says, they're going to first of all ask you to give you the money. They're not going to give the money. They're not going to make the deal then. If somebody offered them 2 pitchers, many years ago, Charlie Finley made some kind of a deal. I forgot he traded.
Boy Kuhn,
Huh?
he traded
Nixon.
Joe
Yeah.
Rudy, he traded Reggie, he traded
Henderson?
3 or 4 guys.
Henderson in there?
No, Henderson.
Commissioner
wasn't there
got
yet.
involved.
Jim Hunter
Yeah.
traded a bunch of guys, and Boy Kuhn wouldn't let him, right? Wasn't it Boy?
Because he was doing a fire sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Take a break, come back. The Sports Show. Stay with us. Stop on by, carry us out. Visit Bruce Bonine and the whole group, man. Liked it so well, bought an SUV. Liked it so well, bought another one. They're hot on the lot out there, just out there the other day, and check out the A7 along the way.
Oh, it's on that now.
They just bought it the other day, right?
They own 9
Maybe you'll
car
drive one finally.
agencies,
About time.
Huh?
Now maybe you'll drive one.
Yeah.
Trying to get in with them.
Kiss up to him.
I
Yeah.
ain't driving one.
Hey, are you satisfied with the Vikings preseason or not?
Well, the game the other night was a joke. I mean,
How do you tell?
they play that 4th-team quarterback the whole half. How they can force people to pay the kind of money they pay to go to see these games.
Did you know this? Said Lou Nanne put a rule in the NHL so so people would pay the price for preseason tickets. Tell them what it is.
I didn't put it in. I suggested we were getting situations like the Vikings had where, say, Edmonton would come into play as the North Stars here. They'd only dress 2 or 3 players. And I said, our fans are paying a lot of money for that. We should have at least 10 players or half the lineup of your team the year before, or players that have played, say, 60 games in NHL. So we put that rule in so that the fans at least are going to see half a team from an NHL player that was either in the league or on that team last year. That's what the Vikings and the NFL should do.
You should push for that rule.
They should have a rule like that. Get back to the Twins. What's interesting is they timed this announcement of the All-Star game with all these new season ticket things. Now they're even giving 10% off of concessions and stuff to season ticket holders.
I haven't seen the letter yet. I haven't seen the letter yet to see what. My consortium is debating. Let's put it that way.
There'll be a meeting after the season, huh?
Yes. Well, we lost 1/3 of our consortium, unfortunately.
Yes.
Darkman. So
Yes.
They might be a little concerned when they did that.
I'd be really hard pressed though to make a decision about buying a season ticket on whether I get to go to the All-Star game. My thought would be if I really want to go to the All-Star game, I'll find a way.
Well, the reason why you would, because you'd say, okay, I can go and buy a ticket from a scalper and pay 4 times the ticket cost and not have to pay all the money. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what the thing about the All-Star game is now? They come in strips too, just like postseason.
Three events?
You got to buy the futures game. You got to buy the home run derby, which I'd rather have my fingernails pulled out with a pliers than go to the home run derby. It takes 9 hours, and then the game. So those little strips cost more than $1,000.
Well, you got the same thing. I just got tickets for the NHL Classic, the Winter Classic.
Did they kind of start that skills competition stuff, the NHL?
The NHL.
No, but this isn't the All-Star
That's
game.
not the All-Star game. The NHL Classic, the Winter Classic.
Yeah.
Now you have the choice of buying the alumni game or a college game. They're doing the same thing.
No,
they're selling more than the one game.
What were you going to say?
I think they're going to have a hard time selling tickets. I really do. I think, I mentioned this before, Chris Wright has had a theory. There's 4 major league sports in this town. He said one of them is going to get hurt one of these days.
Well, if that's the case, then Chris better convince his boss to sell to Kansas City because he's the guy that's going to be out of town. It's not going to be the Twins or the Vikings or the Wild. So
That's what
So
he
what's your
thinks.
point?
Huh?
What's your point?
The point is that there's big competition, and what the Twins did with the letter, they're offering people a bargain now. They consider that a bargain, the fact that the 10% off on concessions and merchandise is something you get.
Sid, when you go I just told you guys during the break, the last 200 games going into this weekend, 72 and 128. You should have a little drop off in season tickets.
That's the fewest. That's the most seats the other day when they played that afternoon game that I've ever seen empty.
First times that they've announced under 30.
But that afternoon game was the most vacant seats. Well, last year they played Tampa in April and they had a makeup doubleheader and it was awful.
Look at it this way, though, boys. If they were 30 games under 500 and playing in the Dome and they had 16 games after Labor Day, they'd average about 7,000. So 29 isn't that bad.
The Yankees are the only thing left on the schedule, aren't
Yes.
they? Yeah. Take a break, come back, finish up. Special mystery treat when we come back.
Calvin.
Don't forget to go guacking at the fair, Tejas Express, Wayne Kostrowski and the whole group out there. And last week, of course, Wayne was in with us and brought us some food, and some of the other people at State Fair said, we want in on that. So Sweet Martha's Cookie and the mini donut stand sent some over, and they are fresh and they are delicious, Louie.
They are. They're great. One of my favorites.
The 1500 stand is right next to one of the Sweet Marthas.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's
Have
just
one there,
a
Louie.
constant line. Just a constant line of people walking out with the overflowing buckets. It's endless.
Well, I love the
Pass
mini
Yes.
donuts. I've been having a lot of those.
me one of those. Here, look.
I don't want any.
I know you don't. I
I'm
don't.
passing it. Well, you liked the guac last week. I saw you. That was good, huh?
Pardon me?
The guacamole you had last week was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We liked the
Yeah.
guac so well, we convinced Wayne to bring a big batch over to the radio station.
Oh, did you? Pretty good
the
stuff.
other day. Oh, man, that's good guac. I got the wife making it at home now.
If you make guac at home, you got something. Yeah. NHL going to play or what?
They're going to play, but not right away. They, if you look at the schedule, October and November are usually the months that you really don't care if you're playing as much as later, because some of the teams will make more money by being out than by playing.
Toronto, they probably care.
Toronto cares. Well, Minnesota cares. Minnesota
Yes,
would be
right.
doing well. But you can see that there's only one point there that's got to get settled, and it's going to be 50% of the revenues go to the players and 50% to the owners. The owners are trying to get it down to effective 46%, because at that point, that would take away the $300 million of losses that the league is sustaining right now. And I thought it was a real good proposal the NHL just made to them to phase in the 50%, get down to it in the fourth year.
Here's what drives me crazy, though. They base any sport, whatever sport it is, that they always want the players to save them from themselves.
Yeah.
All right. Now you can eat these.